Check, check, microphone check. Bye, folks. Enjoy some tunes while we wait for everybody to get in. Okay, check, check, check. How is my microphone sounding to all of you? And that real quick. Bring up some things here as I try to transition to the stuff. Excellent. Thank you, Tiffany. I need one more monitor, folks. One more monitor. Okay. Let's swap things over to, so that we can see the things over. Yeah. Um, Okay. Okay. Really need to pull everything together. Okay. Microphone going. Desktop audio going. Screen share. Voice. There. Okay. Hello, everyone. We'll get started just a tad bit earlier than we normally do. We do have a big agenda to get through, as well as just some general conversation to get into as well. So I just want to get us going. If we get done early, cool. If we don't, that's the way we go. So hi everybody. Welcome to the October Lunch and Learn. The voice you hear is that of one Matthew Goins. I am the client engagement specialist for the WiscWeb team. Other members of the team may or may not chime in as we go along, but we'll see if they can. I apologize if I sound a tad bit nasally. I have been fighting off an atrocious head cold all week, and it ain't getting any better yet. So it's been a rough week. So hopefully I can stay coherent enough to get through everything. So you all saw the email that I sent out this morning regarding today's agenda. We're going to kind of go through some of the things we already went through for those of you who sat in on the Learn with Matt last 2 weeks ago. I just kind of want to go through a few of the things again for people who weren't around for that. And talk about some of the theme updates that we have put in, some of the WiscWeb specific things that we have put in, and then kind of talk through a few of the other things that we have on the docket as well. So first things first, we'll chat a little bit about the UW theme updates that went in. First and foremost, let's go in and tinker around here. We've added in the new equal heights block, equal heights blocks feature to our layouts. And again, those are only specific to the 2 and 3 column layouts. So if you go in and you, apologies, let me get some test stuff here. Throw in some text into these two. You will see that the layouts will be as they are. So if I go in and I add some drop shadow in the apply UW card style, drop shadow in the apply UW card style, and I update those, then same deal. This is the current issue, which is the blocks don't line up nicely when you have that. And usually if you're doing something like this, you kind of want to avoid that anyway, because you're still going to have some weird white space issues in there regardless. But now what you can do is when you have the apply UW card style selected for your text blocks, you can go up to your display settings, the gear icon in the column layout, and you can choose the little checkbox that says equal height blocks. And if you choose that and update your page, it will now, I'll zoom out just a bit so you can see that a little bit better, but now you can see it maintains equal height for both of those columns. So again, 2 column and 3 column layouts. That's how this works for this particular feature. But again, it's a nice way of keeping things a little bit tighter. So if I wanted to, I could go in and maybe just delete out just a little bit of this to maybe tighten that up just a tad bit to make it a little more noticeable. So there you'll see a little less white space there, but that might be a spot where you kind of look at it from a content strategy standpoint and figure maybe something else to throw into here to fill this space, an image or something of that nature, to fill that space there. So that's the first thing that went in for the theme update. The next thing I can't really demonstrate because I don't have any specific values for it, but for faculty staff members who have diacritical marks in their names, so accents, any special characters that go in, umlauts and things like that, that go into their names, previously, when you would search for that person, it would not acknowledge that that person was there because we couldn't search for the diacritical mark, or the search ignored them because of the diacritical mark that was applied to their name. So we have since updated that to now go to find those particular people. Sorry, brain wandering. To find those particular people based on the diacritical marks being there. So a nice update just to make it easier for those of you who have faculty staff members with names that have special characters, special marks to their names, accents, umlauts, and things of that nature. So that will work nicely. Today.wisc.edu. That's not right. That's not. So if I wanted to put in, let's add a page element, today.wisc events, header text, today events, put in the URL. And we now have this option in the today.wisc.edu page element that linked directly to URLs that are entered into the URL field. So guessing this one right here. They now show up there. And so now if I click update, what was it? So it went to the library event page versus the today.wisc.edu event page. So again, just another nice little feature to ease that sort of process for your audience if you're using the today.wisc.edu calendar for your site. This is now another new value that goes into there. Let me go back real quick. And then lastly, out of the theme updates that I have in my list, we've refactored feature content blocks to reduce spacing between stacked elements. So I don't know if I have a good example of this. Nope, not off the top of my head. But basically, right in here, one of the things that we continue to work on with the UW theme is when the theme was designed, there was a certain amount of spacing padding that was added into the various page elements and into the various advanced custom field values that we were styling, feature content blocks being one of those. And, just that padding became a bit too much for people to want to use it on a regular basis, and so we've reduced that so that it looks a lot tighter, a lot nicer to use from there. Some other updates that have gone in over the past month from that theme update, and then also just in general some of the other things that we've talked about. So first things first, we made a fix to our custom meta tag settings. The no index option, the custom no index option, where you could basically hide a page or a post or something from Google crawling it. We made some updates to that to make it a little more efficient, make it work as expected a little bit more. So that was just kind of an oversight that we had, and it now should be working as expected there. I don't know, Linda. Let's give her a shot. I only have two columns, so I have to play around this. Title. This is a test. Dun, 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 dun. This is another test. Uh, let's click the update. I don't know how obvious it'll be on my screen streaming this, but we can take a look at it at least just to kind of see. So yeah, I mean it's tighter there. This isn't a good image for that to really show it off, but it's tighter there. I think it looks um a little bit closer there. Lines it up a little bit nicer. So, but again, tinker with it, test it out, see if it'll play nice for you. Bum, 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 bum. Lo and behold, my friends, we have added in the ability for you to password protect a page. Now, this is WordPress's native password protection functionality. This is not underscore, bold, exclamation points, not NetID password authentication. So what you can do is in a page that you have created, you can go in, you can set a page's visibility option to password protected. You can put in the exceptionally super secret password that you want to be there. And then I will click OK. And then I will click the update. And then I will copy this link. And I will throw it in the chat for all you fine individuals. And hopefully, let's open up a incognito window over here. Let's go there. And then if I put in 2, 3, 4, remember the super simple password that I put in there? There she blows, mateys. So this is something that we have had to fight with for some time now. It came down to the configurations that we have built within the WiscWeb service within our WordPress instance. Because of the way that we have our service built, I mean, quite frankly, nothing is easy because of just the complexity of our service and the, I guess, general mass of our service. We've had to undo and unspaghetti quite a few things within our service to figure out why certain things aren't working. This is one where we finally figured out why it wasn't working. We tried to put it in a month ago, maybe a little bit more than a month ago. We tried to put it in. It did not go in well because sites that were set up a certain way were broken. And so we had to undo that change, continue to test it. Then we put it in. We've actually had this in for several weeks now, just letting it run. We've let a few people know about it who reached out asking about just some different options there, but we've had it running for quite some time now just to make sure that like nothing would happen with the service before we announced it to everybody to start using it. But it's been running smooth. We haven't seen any issues with it. So now there we go. We have the option to now password protect pages, which is something that we've been working on for quite a long time. We're very excited to get that out there. We know that the next request and the next great request for our features is the ability to NetID password protect pages. That's next on our hit list for this particular feature. We're continuing to investigate a few options there. We're working with developers, working with some other folks to get this to work right. But it's not, again, I can't underscore enough the complexity of our system and the way that we have it set up, that nothing's easy. So just be patient with us. We know it's wanted. We know we're going to get there eventually. You just got to give us some time to um, work through that type of stuff. So any questions on that in particular, or I don't know, anybody from the team want to chip
Yeah,
in and say anything? Oh, go ahead. Let me make
can
sure that
folks?
you're actually heard. Yep. Okay, you're good.
Yeah, good. Hi, everybody. It's Jenna. Jenna Clinner, service coordinator for the WiscWeb team. Just introducing a couple things that I want to make sure you know with this feature. We definitely do not want you to use your NetID password for this um, this this password protection feature. Do not put your NetID password in this tool. You really shouldn't be using it anywhere outside of the university on any other tools or anything like that, but also don't use that as your password here, and definitely don't share it. This option will not protect media files. So while you could upload media and to this page and have it protected, if someone knew the direct path to a piece of media, like a PDF, they could still get to it. It's located at a different location within WordPress. So if you're really looking to protect things like PDFs or other documents, we highly recommend throwing them in box as a precautionary step. Um, if it's not bad that someone might be able to see that particular PDF, but you want the other content locked down, then that's fine. Um, and then just a reminder that we do not host sensitive restricted data in WiscWeb. So these pages should not be used for sharing any kind of sensitive or restricted data. We are not secured for that type of data. If you're looking for some sort of hosting for sensitive restricted data, let us know. We can help put you in touch with the right people based on kind of like your needs. I think that pretty much covers it. Thank you.
Just to answer Rich's question, yes. Um, as is the case with anything uh, that would be password protected, if somebody has the password, they can get to it. Um, and then, like Jenna said, the media, since the media kind of lives with a different URL as well, if people know what that specific file name is, they could get to that media if they really, tried hard enough to do that. So, um, let's see, what's next up. Any other questions on that? Just go ahead and throw them in there. I'll just keep kind of motoring through. Um, let's see here. Okay. We updated. This is another functionality that we updated with the theme release. We've started to tinker around with the dashboard area and adding in some more information and making a little bit more use of this space for us and for you. So the first thing that we have added in is the WiscWeb help section. I didn't really know, widget, I guess that would be what it's called. But essentially, it's just a few links off to a few items that we thought were beneficial to you all in the case of just finding help, finding information, finding out how to do some things. So, support page, the KB, our general FAQ, our support um, form, and then the new feature request board. So I'll grab that real quick just to throw that in the chat anyway. Although now you all have access to it via your dashboard. Yes, Rich. It's because this is WordPress's functionality and not specifically UW, like our authentication functionality. Yes, anyone with the password could access that page. It's not specific to just campus individuals or like VPN or anything of that nature. It sets the password to the page. You can then share that page out with the password, and um, people could access it that way. Okay. So, back to this guy. So we want to make more use of this dashboard area for a lot. I shouldn't say a lot because that makes it seem like we're going to like overload this thing for more types of items that we want to engage you all with or in. Um, so during my Learn with Matt in September, after we did the theme release, I posed this question to that group. And Jenna, do you have a ticket on hand that you could throw either in our chat or in our chat? Because that way I can bring it up here. Um, we posed the question of like, what else could we use this particular area for to benefit you all? And so we kind of just want to take suggestions from everybody. We want to hear what types of things would you find beneficial, and then I'll bring up the suggestions that we have already. Dun, 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 I'm the assignee too. Let's collapse that. Let's hide that. So here are a few that we came up with last time, just so you all can see that. Chat up as well. Community of practice links. So we have several very beneficial communities of practice surrounding the sort of um, digital sphere here on campus. You know, you've got your accessibility, you've got your design community, you've got the WordPress users group community of practice. So we have a number of those that we would make links available in here so people could get easier access to them. Accessibility is one that I don't remember who may have said it, but I would plus one it, and if I said it, I'll plus one myself. Getting as much accessibility information in front of you all as possible to either A, encourage you to just be aware of some of the other things, or B, encourage you to address some of the accessibility issues that sites have. That would be another nice thing there. Analytics, site analytics, and Google Analytics is another one that people have requested often. That's an obvious one. Resources and policies widget with things like brand.wisc, the style guide, stuff like that makes sense. And then a couple more that were thrown on that weren't a part of that conversation. A way to easily search and switch between sites that you are an editor or an admin of. Apologies. And then also some way to list the users that exist within your site so that you could potentially easily remove any that no longer need to have access to your site. That's another one that we talked about. Linda, the customer support form is right there. Submit a support request. It's on the dashboard already. So that's one that we wanted to make sure we put out there. Sorry, got a cough? Oh man, the worst. Sorry. That's one we wanted to make sure we got out there because of the fact that we want people to easily be able to communicate with us as well.
Yeah, so
Any
there's
other
two
requests? Oh,
dash.
sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna note, like, yeah, there's two that we have already. Can you make that latest WiscWeb news bigger, Matt? Um, the widget. Right, yeah.
Yeah,
So
sorry.
the
I forgot
two
I
that
didn't
we've
collapse
already
that one.
added. Yeah, the two we already added was a box that kind of has some help links, the support page of like general links related to support, our link out to the knowledge base, frequently asked questions, submitting a support request, and submitting a new feature request. And then the latest news is just pulling directly from our website on articles that we post for latest news. A lot of times it is, what's going on with the UW theme update, WordPress core has been updated, anything important we need you to know about.
So yeah. feel free to drop them in the chat. Feel free to reach out to us individually. We will probably send out some more type of like survey ish type things to engage you all a little bit more. Um, and then essentially kind of look at the top 3 or 4 that rise to the top of that list or those recommendations, and work on those. So just kind of think about it. We just want to get it in front of you and chat about it a little bit. So, okay, back to your notes, Matt. Okay, last one that just went in this morning. Yesterday. What a week. Was the updated plugin to the reusable content. And so I talked about this during the Learn with Matt. I'll kind of reiterate some of that stuff here for those of you who weren't there. But we used to use a plugin called the Shareable Contents plugin. And essentially what it does is it shares um, uh, created content. You create it once, and then you're able to use it again and again throughout your site. And so that's what this guy is right here. This is just my demo of it right now. So you could create these. There's short codes for them there. And, that's just kind of what we did. And then the other thing that it did was it shared that content amongst sites that were allowed to share content amongst themselves. Well, again, I go back to my previous emphasis on the fact that nothing is simple within the WiscWeb service because of the way that we are structured and just the general size of our service. This creates a bit of a concern when we are sharing amongst sites. Not so much, content within one site, but sharing amongst sites, it becomes a bit more concerning. And so what we did was, what Andrea did was she reconfigured this plugin to be a little more, a little more, I don't know what the right word is here, but just basically it's better. She reconfigured it to be better. And I guess the drawback is the fact that we don't want it to be used amongst multiple sites. We only want the content to be created within one site and used multiple times within a singular site. So shareable content is the old plugin. It would be the one that is active for those of you who are using it. The new plugin is reusable content. Please hold. Oh man, I can just feel my throat rebelling against me. UW reusable content is the new plugin. This is Jenna. Correct me. Is this a self-service plugin now?
Yep, they should be able to
Okay.
self-activate. If you
All right.
can't see it in your plugin list, let us know and we'll make sure that you can. But you should be able to self-activate
And then
UW reusable
and
content.
you can also self deactivate.
Oh, yeah, let's make
Because
sure
that
we have
that
that
one's
set.
got to happen also, which
Yeah,
I will demo in a
I do
second
need to
here.
change that.
Yeah. So
I will
anyways,
change that right now.
okay, so what happens is when you go in and you activate UW reusable content and you still have shareable content active, you will get a little message at the top of your screen. And that's why I wanted to ask about that because, this is something that you all will see as you tinker with this. You will see this message at the top. You cannot have both content sharing and reusable content at the same time. You'll have to deactivate content sharing, which is the old one, before the new one will start to work. I guess this is more along the lines of we're encouraging you to do this, but we want to get rid of this one. So eventually we'll get to the point where we'll just do it for you. Don't make us have to do it for you. But anyways, we go back into plugins. Let me find content sharing.
Yeah, and I've made that deactivatable,
Yep.
so folks should be able to deactivate the other one.
Yep. So really quick, I just want to show just to make sure. So reusable content not active yet. Here's my shareable content one. You'll notice I have 5 items in there. All right. So now I'm going to deactivate content sharing. All right. Here is the new plugin right here, reusable content. So I will go there. And I know I believe Linda, you asked this last time when I was doing this, but it has brought over all of my existing content. And if Andrea, correct me if I'm wrong, if you are using any of the short codes from content sharing, those short codes will still be honored in reusable content. Yes?
Yes, and I can speak to this if you'd like me to.
What?
Yeah, we created this updated version of the plugin so that it will still respect the old short codes. You'll only have access to copy and paste the new ones, but yeah, any content that was created using the old UW shareable content short code should still work as expected. And Matt, one more feature, if you could point it out, is if you go to the left side and go to the pages with reusable content
Yes.
link.
I don't
Okay.
think I have any, but yeah.
Oh, cool.
So yeah. So this will show you where, and then you'll notice she also added in both short codes that are honored there. So if you're using it already, you can now go in and find where you're using it at so that you can use it. So for those of you who are not aware of what this thing does, if I go to pages, go back to my test page, do it live, let's say. All right, let me take off the password protect real quick, just because I don't want to tinker with that. But if I add a new 2-column layout, add a text block right here, text block right here. Is the find reusable content button staying or going?
It's staying. It used to say shareable content. Now
Thank
it
you.
says
Okay.
reusable.
Okay, so if you click on find, sorry, Scott mentioned this morning during our stand-up, so I wanted to make sure I didn't say anything wrong. Okay, so anyways, if you click on your find reusable content, all of your reusable content will show up in this list. You can search for it if you really need to. That's not working right. Hmm. Do you see that, Andrew?
Yeah, I'll have to do some testing
Okay.
on.
Oh, we'll have to investigate that. But what should happen is you should be able to filter it. Anyways, I will go in and I will put Bob Ross as the bomb in there. And it copies the short code. You then have to paste it in. We're trying to avoid too much. Yeah, Linda, I just discovered that too. We'll tinker with that. We'll figure that part out. So, anyways, there's that. Same deal. If I go in and I go to copyright notice, paste that in, update. And then there are the 2 items that are um, reusable. So I could reuse these page after page after page. Anywhere where I can put in text, I can paste those codes in. So obviously the reusable content button is in the text block text editor. But if you know the short codes, you can reuse them.
I think there was something that came up this morning. Someone was asking about like using other short codes within the reusable content area, probably something like a gravity forms form. And my understanding is that won't work. Is that correct,
Correct.
Andrea? Okay.
The reusable content gets in HTML sanitization, so the short code brackets get filtered out. So that's something that we could potentially look into if there's a need for it.
Yeah, so I would see this as something where it's like, hey, I've got this like maybe contact info that I need to repeat on a couple pages, an address, a statement, or something like that. Um, Simple, static content typically is kind of what this is intended for. It's not intended to be like a way to build out a bunch of different page elements or put a lot of like, yeah, forms or anything in there. So just for awareness.
Okay. Oh, back to the notes. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Yeah. I sent out the links for both my Learn with Matt session where I did the theme update and chatted about Events Calendar 6.0, which I will chat about again here in a second. And then Jenna's embed code session, embed code listening session. I sent both of those links out in the email, so please make sure if you want to listen to those because we kind of go through, well, the Learn with Matt is kind of the same stuff that we're chatting about now. Jenna's is more depth to the conversation about our change to embed codes and the way we're going to handle embedding content moving forward. So yesterday you also got an email from me, and then we also ran the process this morning. Um, but we updated a plugin. I shouldn't say we updated. We changed to a new plugin to manage our ability to send emails through the service via forms. So we're now using a plugin called Fluent SMTP. Um, really shouldn't have had any effect on any of your forms. We did have one person reach out this morning and notice an issue, but we've tested it. We didn't notice an issue, so I'm in all honesty, I sent my email out before the switch had happened. I wasn't aware that the switch didn't happen yet. That's on me because I didn't check in with my team. But they did the switch after I sent the email out. So those of you who are tinkering with it, you may have accidentally sent an email right at the perfect moment as we were swapping over to the new plugin. So if you notice any issues, please let us know. Please reach out. Otherwise, we really encourage you all to just send a test submission through your forums just to make sure that you are still receiving them. And then that way, we know whether or not we have any issues that we need to look into from that standpoint. So, okay. So, boy, oh boy. Theme updates, yes. Other updates, yes. Plugin for sending emails, yes. Dashboard widgets, yes. Work session videos, yes. Embed content stuff. Good to go there. Hey, folks, if you haven't done it already, please, oh, please take a look at your Google Analytics. Remember, July 1, 2023, Google Analytics will no longer collect data via the Universal Analytics um, uh, tag or code or whatever it is. You need to move over to Google Analytics 4 to be able to continue collecting data after July 1, 2023. I highly encourage you to do this earlier rather than later because later means that a lot of people are going to be getting in touch with me and I might not have time to work with you. So if you want to talk about it, set up some time on my office hours and I'm more than happy to work with folks. All right. Let's talk about any other questions out there. Go ahead and ask. Sue, it was around that time. I sent my email at 9:25, and the email went through pretty fast. So it had to have been around 9:30 ish when we made the switch over to there. Any other questions? Go ahead and throw them in the chat there. Team, if you'd like to chime in, go ahead. But Matthew is going to log in to Dev to chat a little bit about Events Calendar 6.0. So, for those of you who have been, sort of paying attention to my emails over the past year or so, you know that I've chatted a little bit about the fact that Events Calendar was changing. They're going to be getting rid of their old styles. They're bringing in um, uh, a couple of new features and a couple of new things to be aware of. So, Events Calendar 6, the plugin itself has been, I shouldn't say this. Events Calendar, the plugin itself, has been released to version 6.0. It's probably at like 6.0.1 or 2 or something like that right now. WiscWeb, we have not yet updated our production server for Events Calendar yet. And I'll get into why in a hot second here. But we haven't done that yet. It's out there, and we're taking a look at it right now. But I just kind of want to show you what it looks like and then subsequently discuss with you where we're at as a team with Events Calendar 6.0, and then kind of just talk about next steps in regards to it. So, Events Calendar 6.0, when it launches, you will have a let me go to Wiseman, actually. That will be the better example. Since I haven't run through that process yet for Wiseman. Has it not done it yet? Oh, okay. Let's go here. Please hold while I try and find the actual thing that I need you all to be aware of. Anywho, I'll vamp while it loads. There is an option that will appear that is, it says it's optional. I don't really, optional always makes me worried in a plugin because do you miss out on things because it's optional? What's happening? I haven't done any of these events. Jenna, do you have events calendar active?
Do I have yeah, let me take a look. Are you talking about Jenna test?
Yeah. Ooh,
Let me take a look at what I've got. Are you looking in QA right now?
No, Dev, because we haven't pushed it to. Oh, here we go. Never mind. It's there.
You got it?
The button is there. Okay. Sorry. Cold. Can't think straight. So if and when we update to 6.0, one of the things that you'll notice is there is this little option that says one more thing left to do. Upgrade your events. It wants you to upgrade your events to this new version of their database or their data storage system, their database, so that the events can all take advantage of the new functionalities of Events Calendar 6.0. So what we have seen is, and I'll ask the team to chime in here because a lot of things happened and I don't remember everything that we ran into there with the server and all that stuff. When you click this button, it will run through a process. It'll say upgrade your events. You'll click on upgrade your events. You'll start the migration preview. Jenna doesn't have that many events in her site, so it really won't take that long to do anything with. I'll get to that soon because that's an exceptionally open question. Sorry, it's Dev. Dev is much slower than a prod server. Anyhoot, it will tell you that X number of events have been scanned. You can begin the migration now. You click migration, begin migration. It will run through the process of updating those events into the new database, into their new data storage system. If any of those events have issues, it will come back with a list of errors about those particular events. One of the things that we have reached out to the vendor about is the fact that list of errors do not are not very helpful. All they say is this event has an error, it will not be migrated. This event has an error, it will not be migrated. It has no information at all. It's not helpful to us, it's not helpful to you. So we reached out to them to see if we could get some, a little bit better functionality there. So here's that option there. If you click start migration, um, these won't have any errors because Jenna's doesn't have any very in-depth events. And so this is the process. The first concern that I have is mainly if you all see a list of events that have errors in them, what then? What do you do? Well, part of me wants to take a look at those events and like if that event is from like previous to today, if it's an archived event, I mean, part of me goes, let's delete the event and just get rid of the error event. That might not be the option that you want to take, but in the longer run of trying to fix things, that might be the easiest thing to do, and then recreate any events that need to be recreated. Um, uh, but again, because the error log is not helpful at all, it doesn't help me troubleshoot like what the exact problem is. Like, is there an issue with the title of the event? Is there an issue with like the timing of the event? Is there something wrong with the venue, with the host or the organizer, whatever? So that's the first issue that we're running into, is just the fact that like this migration process creates a complication that is not easy to decipher. So then we ran into the second issue, which is when we have Events Calendar 6.0, Andrea, correct me if I'm wrong, when we have Events Calendar 6.0 active on our main WiscWeb site, it caused our network dashboard to not be accessible to us because Events Calendar 6.0 started to create a bunch of processes behind the scenes that our AWS was kicking out errors on. And so now it becomes a system issue rather than just an individual site issue for us as well.
Correct.
So we did a bunch of troubleshooting after my last Learn with Matt when we started to talk about this. And then all of a sudden, our network dashboard was no longer accessible in dev. And then we started to investigate. We swarmed it. We found that Events Calendar 6.0 was the issue. So that kind of rolls into your question, Sue, which is an ETA. Massive shrug, because honestly, we don't know. We really have to troubleshoot this more. We have to swarm this more. We have to figure out whether or not we can actually update this without causing any system issues for us and for you. So we don't know. There is no plan in place. We had a plan in place, and then it decided to break things. So
Yeah.
we don't really have an ETA yet because we just don't know what our next steps should be just yet.
I think like what we did do too is like we captured some information from that discovery that we sent along to the vendor, but I personally am feeling a little bit uncomfortable with the way that they have prepared this update. Because I don't think that a vendor like that is testing multi-site instances at the scale that we're at. So we do our own testing often, but we do often also have to inform vendors like, hey, you're only testing at 20 sites, we have 1,700 sites. So we did provide some feedback, but like Matt said, significant testing still needs to happen because we only moved, I don't know how many was it that morning that you tested, Matt? A couple
Yeah, it was only several.
that were actually migrated. Yeah. So if there were a couple hundred that needed to migrate, I just I don't think that we'd feel confident in rolling it out the way it exists currently.
No, no. And again, we just, our thought process is, can we do it? How easily can we do it? Can we do it without breaking, everything? If any of the answers to those, if any of those questions are coming back as a no, or yeah, but it's going to take a lot of work, then we have to start to think about, well, what's next? Are there alternatives? Events calendar is nice, but it's a big one, and you know, is the complexity of a really nice plugin, what's the use of it to make sure that we can address any needs there as well. So that's kind of where we stand right now. We're going to test the heck out of it. We're going to try and get some feedback back from the vendor, and then we'll go from there. So nothing imminent. Like I said earlier, we don't have an ETA for it, so we'll communicate out more.
Yeah.
We won't just like all of a sudden next week go, hey, we fixed it, here it is, da-da. I want to make sure I go through and demo it for people again, especially this migration process, because this is the one that makes me nervous, just because of the fact that so I had done the Wiseman site, I had done Linda's site, and Linda's site came back with, I can't even remember how many. It was like 39 or something like that events that were errored. And again, no information on why they were erroring. They just errored. So there's no real way to troubleshoot them other than to just kind of dig into it. And again, at the end of the day, there's one me and one Jenna. And as of my last view, 295 sites that are using the events calendar. So trying to work through all that won't be easy if Jenna and I have to kind of be available to help people through that process. So okay. So yeah, I just wanted to give that update for events calendar 6.0. I thought we addressed that.
Yeah, so what Linda's referring to is the fact that back in sometime between April and June, Events Calendar made an update to the uh, sizing of featured images so that it's scaling a little bit differently than how it had. So you may have noticed that if you have related events showing in one, at the bottom of your events,
Oh yeah.
that the images look a little bit more zoomed in.
Yep.
And that's yeah, you can actually see like Bucky's like, whoa, hi
Yep.
Bucky. They made that change. That was an events calendar change. We did not have control over that. The best we can do is provide feedback back to the vendor on it, but doesn't mean that they're going to change it. Obviously, they have tons of users all over the world. So just like with the events calendar 6.0 thing, we can let them know, how we're feeling about it, and provide some feedback and kind of what we're seeing. But I can tell you, like, I sent in that feedback on 6.0 a couple weeks ago and haven't
Yeah.
heard back yet. So
Yep.
um, some vendors are really good about responding right away and give you really thorough answers, and some don't, which is sort of, another reason why if you ever feel like we are hesitant to add new plugins, it's partially that. We don't have a lot of control there. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I know we are a bit draconian when it comes to adding plugins, and we know that frustrates people quite a bit, but this is kind of why, because it just adds such complexity to the service that we have to worry about. So that's kind of the drawback of how, and it's not the drawback. It's just the reality of how we do things. It's just the fact that we have to support these things, we have to troubleshoot them, and we have to fix them, and it's not always easy. And events calendar is, I mean, the big three that we use, Gravity Forms, events calendar, and WP data tables, over the life of our service, each one of them has caused us issues that we have had to do significant troubleshooting on. So this is kind of the why. So, okay. So let's kind of wrap it up there because we're coming up on 1 p.m. And as I have said, the brain is starting to fade. The cold medicine is wearing off. Our office hours are available on the site. You can always get to us at WiscWeb. What's that? And then I'll go under office hours real quick and put that in the support office hours. You can always set up some time with Jenna or I to go through some things. Um, but yeah, we'll call it there. Never hesitate to reach out to me with any questions, either through Teams or through email, and I can get that stuff sent on to the team if needed. If you notice any issues, let us know. Next month is November. I don't know when our next theme update is. I don't know that we have a theme update scheduled yet. But anyways, go make use of the feature request board. We'll get in touch with you more about the dashboard widgets. Reach out to us if you have any issues. We can set up some office hour times and we can chat through things. Please, 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 oh, please start thinking about your analytics stuff so we can chat about that as well. All right. We'll call it a month there. We'll talk to everybody soon. Stay warm, stay healthy, please. And we'll talk to everybody in November. Bye.